Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. That's the new name for the Anglo Jazz podcast. Renamed the channel the other day. Glasgow Rangers Nation now we are known as. I hope you like the new name. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Remember to hit that sub, ring that notification bell for all the latest news, views, updates from Glasgow Rangers. Well, obviously, this summer is going to be a huge one for the club. Even Michael Beale himself has said that the squad is too big. It needs to be trimmed. It needs to be changed round. We need to cut back and we need more players coming in that are going to sort of 3 or 4 players to make a massive impact. And then obviously the rest to supplement the squad. And the list of players who are potential departures from the club this summer is quite a long one and a detailed one. Also on top of that, player linked with Glasgow Rangers this morning from the English Premier League. So hang on for that. We'll talk about that in the video just shortly, or near the end of the video. So please hang on for that. So the list of possible departures from Rangers this summer are as follows: Kieran Wright, Philip Helander, Ryan Jack, Stephen Davis, Ryan Kent, Alfredo Morelos, Alan McGregor, Scott Arfield, and Malik Tillman. Obviously, 9 of those players are owned by the club, and obviously Malik Tillman is an expiring loan. So how many of those players do you think will be still at Glasgow Rangers when the season kicks off next year? How many of those 10 do you think will remain? There's certainly got to be question marks over some of them in terms of fitness, in terms of age, in terms of health, in terms of just general talent as well. And also the fact that, a lot of these players have been tagged by supporters and by reporters as well as been serial losers and having that mentality of constantly being behind Celtic, constantly losing to Celtic, and it kind of becomes a bit ingrained, doesn't it? So there's a fear there. I think that some of these guys may well be ingrained with that, that fear. I think there's a likelihood that Wright will depart. I think Philip Helander, Helander is an exceptionally good defender. Don't get me wrong. He's probably one of the best defenders at the club when he is fit. But unfortunately, he is hardly ever fit. And you've also got to ask the question, when he does come back, realistically, how fit is he going to be? Is how close to his best is he going to be? So that, may be a potential departure there as well. Ryan Jack has signalled this week that he is likely to depart the club. Now, there was rumours in the press around Stephen Davis, Rangers legend Stephen Davis, in terms of, the fact that he actually may remain at the club and get a new deal. That has been a rumour that has been currently doing the rounds. The big rumours obviously surround the futures of Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos. Kent and Morelos at times this season have flattered to deceive, and at times Alfie hasn't looked very fit, has he? He's looked a bit overweight and not like the Alfredo Morelos of the past. So obviously there's a debate, a discussion there of whether those two guys could remain or could be released. There's certainly those people who want them released, who don't want them to get a new contract at the end of this season, are very much talking the fact that, because Kent and Morelos are two of the top wage earners, you then free up a lot of money that you can then be using to attract new players to the team and to sign new players. So could it be a case that, allowing Kent and Morelos may allow Rangers to speculate and accumulate? Or, do you keep one out of the two of them? Do you go for one of them? Do you go for Ryan Kent because he looks slightly fitter, slightly more with it this season? Or do you go for Morelos in the hope that he can get back to his best and become that danger, that Alfie that we all know and love from the past? So that's obviously a discussion there, for Rangers fans. I think it's obviously highly likely that Alan McGregor will leave. He's 41 years old now. And we saw Saturday, I think, with his reluctance to come for crosses, quite where his weaknesses are. And I think there was a development there to go and get a new younger keeper, like a Jack Butland, like a Freddie Woodman that we've seen linked in recent weeks with Rangers. And if you haven't found out a little bit of information about that, go back and check out the videos here on Glasgow Rangers Nation. Scott Arfield, I think, will likely depart the club at the end of the season. Given the fact, obviously, he again has aged, and also seeing the fact that his opportunities to take part have been severely limited. So, there could be a huge changeover in the number of players coming into and going out of the club this summer. Malik Tillman is another discussion point. At what point do you say, about Tillman? Can we afford him? Can Rangers afford that? I've seen rumored 5 million that they were talking about on the Rangers Rabble podcast the other day. 6.2 million I've read in papers has been the Bayern Munich buyout clause for Tillman. So is the money there? If they do that, is it worth is he worth the £6 million? And hopefully, I think he has been very impressive at times this season. I think he's still learning to play in the Old Firm game. I think for any player coming up to Scotland and playing in the Old Firm game, it's a huge learning curve. To go from whatever football, even it's Premier League football, to the Old Firm, which is a million miles an hour, and that aggression and the physicality needed to compete at the top level in the Old Firm match. It is definitely one that you need to learn. And that's something Tillman is still learning, I think. Certainly you've got to look at some of the comments as well made by ex-Rangers players. I think Derek Ferguson's comments were a little bit ill-timed and a bit ridiculous, really, where he stated that Tillman wasn't worth the money based on last Sunday's performance. Well, yeah, probably not based on last Sunday's performance, but then again, based on last Sunday's performance against Celtic, were any of those players worthy of wearing a Rangers shirt? That's the question you've got to ask. You've got to look at his whole body of work, the fact that, what he's done over the time he's been with the club, as to whether he's worth that £5-6 million that Bayern Munich want for the American Malik Tillman. Going back to that list, I think there is an opportunity here for Michael Beale to really, cut the squad down and to shape the squad in his own image, and allowing some of these players to leave, to move on, guys who've been here for a long time, guys who've, in a way, become serial losers, to Celtic and used to finishing second to Celtic, to go and bring in new players with new grit, new determination. And we've certainly seen, the fact that I think Raskin and Cantwell have come in and been absolutely fantastic since they've come in. Raskin and Cantwell look brilliant. I know it was only Kilmarnock, but still look really, really good on Saturday. And had they started against Celtic, would that game have had a different outcome? Cantwell in particular looked absolutely brilliant on Saturday, and that playmaker capability that he's got, and the fact that Raskin and Cantwell, it's always forward, forward, forward. Let's look forward. Let's get the ball going forward. Let's move forward and not play it back, play it sideways, slow it down, which was obviously, I think, one of the things that happened against Celtic in the cup final with the likes of Glenn Kamara. So for me, I think, out of those 10, you're probably looking to keep maybe one of Kento Morelos. But for me, the other 8, Malik Tillman as well. But for me, the other 7, you can quite happily, I think, let go now at this point. Say thank you for all you've done for the club, and therefore, let Michael Beale rebuild this squad in his own image. Now, one player that's been linked with a move today to Glasgow Rangers is Ryan Fraser, Scottish international Ryan Fraser, who is currently with Newcastle United. But apparently he has fallen out with Eddie Howe and has been told that he has no future at the club. Fraser is currently training with Newcastle's under-21s. And is not expected to play any further part in Newcastle's season. Fraser started his career at Aberdeen, where he made 21 appearances. He then went to AFC Bournemouth, where he played in the Premier League there, 183 appearances, 20 goals. Went on loan to Ipswich Town in his time with Bournemouth, where he played 18 games, scored 4 goals, and has made 53 appearances for Newcastle, scoring 2 goals, as well as having 26 Scotland caps and 4 goals for the national team. Ryan Fraser is felt to be someone that Beale could well be looking at, as bringing in maybe as a backup to Kent if they keep Ryan Kent. And if Ryan Kent isn't kept, could Fraser be his replacement? Could he be the new Ryan Kent? That is definitely one of the discussion points in the papers this weekend. So, Ryan Fraser is a very skilled player. He's someone who has had impact down south of the border in the Premier League, which obviously we all know is a very high standard of football. So could Ryan Fraser be on his way to Rangers this summer? I know Everton are also interested in him, but, the pull of coming back to Scotland, the pull of playing for one of the biggest teams in Europe, pull of European football, the pull of Glasgow Rangers could well be the deciding factor when Fraser comes to deciding his future. Well, Rangers fans, let me know what you think of those 10 players. How many would you keep and who would you keep? And Ryan Fraser, is he worth bringing in this summer? Let me know in the comments below. Guys, I'll be back to speak to you again on a daily basis, so please make sure you don't miss out. The way to don't miss out is by hitting that subscription button, all for free, ringing that notification bell, and giving this video a like. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, as always, here on the Glasgow Rangers Nation. Hope you love the new name. Let me know in the comments what you think. Guys, we are the people. Let's stick by our boys. Let's go on to the end of this season. Let's get that Scottish Cup back and at least turn this season into some modicum of success. Thanks for watching, guys.